Listen, I'm going to get to the intro here in a second. What I got to talk about first is very important. As a football player, as a coach, even as the fan, it's very important that we all understand the basic parts to being a successful football team. And these go back to the first day that football started. It didn't matter if you were only running the ball, if it was just a scrum back in the first freaking game that was ever played. The things you got to be good at: blocking and tackling. Those two things right there: blocking, tackling. And I've got an issue, and maybe it's been happening more. I just noticed it a ton recently, yesterday. And it's been kind of building as the season's going, but yesterday I kind of got into my wits' end. Why is nobody tackling? Nobody's tackling, okay? There are way too many scenarios where there's a ball carrier running with the football and there's a lunge, a push. They'll go knock the crap out of them, but guess what? Arms are right here. Yeah, it works every now and then, but guess what? It doesn't work more times than it works. And then you see that ball carrier. Where's he going? He's scoring, or at least getting a bigger play. I'm telling you, the teams who were trailing, and there were some big upsets that happened this weekend. The teams who were trailing and trying to get a stop, it's like nobody could do it. You know why? Because they couldn't tackle anybody. And you wouldn't be in the trailing position in the beginning if you would tackle early in the game. And it's not happening. I'm no tackle guru. I'm no tackle expert. I've tackled in my life before, and I've done tackling drills, okay? I'm sure a lot of people have. You have to wrap up and run your feet. You understand? This lunging and shouldering, it's got to stop. If you want to be a good defensive squad, and I'm not saying this on coaches, not saying this on players, it's probably a little bit of both. I don't know. But why am I seeing it so much on top tier football teams? And I understand that the ball carrier they're good players. They're not always easy to tackle. They're going to make moves and make you miss. But we're missing too many tackles. Why are there so many people missing tackles? I'm telling you, and maybe it's like this every week, and maybe I'm just now noticing it. I don't know. But golly, we got to tackle better all across the board, across the country. The tackling's got to be better. I don't understand it. Ball carriers are getting better and better. I get it. They're bigger and they're faster. They're going to just keep getting that way probably. But so are the defensive players. Go make tackles. Now, this is not every defensive player. It's not every tackle. I understand that. But there are too many times where runs are being going farther than they should. I'm seeing several running backs get hit in the backfield and defensive players bouncing off and they get 6 yards instead. To the casual eye, right? To the casual eye, it doesn't seem like a lot. But when you could have them stop for a no gain or a negative, and they end up gaining 6, guess what? That's a successful play for the offense now. And now they're in 2nd and 4 or 3rd and 1. So, I mean, I don't know. I don't understand what's going on with it. I mean, I guess I kind of understand what's going on with it because the guys are not wrapping up. And there are guys lunging, not running feet. It's driving me insane. And you know what? It probably doesn't mean a whole lot for me saying it. I'm sitting here in the chair in my freaking room, right? In the studio. So what the heck am I going to do about it? But I'm noticing it. I'm seeing it. It's got to get better. Maybe it's just middle season lull. I don't know. But man, it's a lot. It's a lot of missed tackles. And I'm sorry to start this off so negatively, but it's something I got to get off my chest. Get off my chest, man. And there, what I have seen, here's a positive. I've seen some perimeter blocking be very good across the board. And that's something that can be very hit or miss. And people, football lovers and people who get what's going on, those perimeter blocks can spring touchdowns. And I'm seeing some good ones. And I really like that. But then the tackling, not every tackler, but there are a lot of tacklers out there who are just diving in there, eyes closed, looking away, get a push. I mean, we got to tackle. We got to tackle. All right, if you want to be successful and want to be good as a group, you got to tackle the ball carrier. Now, we're going to get off of that. I'm going to tell you, this is Pad Level with Jake McKenzie. I'm Jake McKenzie. I'm here in my studio over in Western North Carolina in the mountains, baby. And we had a great day of football yesterday. I appreciate you being here. If you're listening and watching, this is Sunday afternoon for me. It's 5:28 here on a Sunday afternoon, November 2nd. We're in November. We're in the last month of the regular season. We're in November. 5:28 here. You'll be listening to this on Monday morning, hopefully, if no technical difficulties happen. Let me tell you something. Me being a producer, guess what? Posting this stuff, it gives me some issues, folks. It gives me some real issues. So, listen, my plan, I'm working new things, trying to get new things in so I can get these out on time when I'd like to get them out to you. And then once I do that, I might can do more. Who knows? But thank you for being here. I appreciate you listening. I appreciate you interacting, whether that's commenting, because we're getting a lot of those. And we'll check through them here. I'm going to make sure. Let me make a note. All right. We'll check some comments, see who's commenting, who's got some analysis that we need to hear about. Okay. Who's got the stuff we need to hear. Also, if you're subscribing and following and rating, now that is huge, man. That's huge. It costs you nothing. I'm not going to charge you anything for that. I don't want to. But I'd love to have the subscription or the follow. And I'll tell you why. Because the more subscriptions, the more followers we get, the more high rates we get, the better the show will be, the more we'll be like this, ascending. That means going in the right direction, improvement. Try to get 1% better every day. That's it. And the more subscriptions and follows, that's what we're doing, 1%. So I appreciate you if you're doing that. If you've told somebody else to do it, if you snagged their phone and done it for them, that's nice too. You're not even doing anything bad. You're doing something great. Okay? So thank you. I appreciate you for being here watching. Weekend was great. Last night got an extra hour of sleep. That was great. That was phenomenal. Cincinnati and Utah started at 10:15 Eastern, 9:15 Central, and you know how it goes down the line. So I'm watching. I fall asleep watching it. I mean, it's late. I'm just a sissy, I guess. I can't stay up late enough to watch it. All right. Looks like it wasn't a whole lot to watch anyway, if you know what I'm saying. And I thought it was going to be more, but it wasn't. And it kind of got out of hand early. But the weekend was great overall. Extra sleep was awesome. Yesterday did a little, I know it was the day after Halloween, did a little trunk or treat. So I was eating too much candy. You know, I can't stand it. I got to eat all the candy. So that was great. Give candy to the kids, trick or treat. Good time. So, thanks for being here. Kind of got off track. Thanks for being here. I really appreciate it. We just got off the soapbox for tackling. And I'm sorry, but I'm really not that sorry because it's got to get better. If these teams want to get better, they got to tackle. Okay? Now, I got a sad segment. And this one hits kind of close to home because it's the home state. What I'm about to tell you. Lots of buddies, family members, friends who are riding on this team every weekend. Faithful. And the head coach is gone. Now, there are probably a lot of people who are pretty excited about it. Juke's excited about it. You hear that? Anyway, Hugh Freeze is out as head coach at Auburn. Happened earlier today. Hugh Freeze is out as the head coach at Auburn. You know, he's been there for 2+ years. This was his third season. I believe his record was 15-19. I think, yeah. And so they couldn't ever get it going. Couldn't ever get a quarterback in there who could really do what they want to do. Defense this year has been elite. They don't give up many points. They don't give up many points at all. So the defense has not been the issue. All right. The offense has been the issue for the last 3 years. And whether we like it or not, Hugh Freeze, that's kind of his deal. He's calling the offense and just never quite got there. Now, Peyton Thorne was his guy the last 2 years. And he ended up not being the guy for him. So then, probably knowing it's kind of a last shot, he brings in Jackson Arnold from Oklahoma. In the first game, he lights it up versus Baylor. And everybody's thinking, man, this is it. They play 3 more non-conference games. So 2 non-conference games. And then, they win. They're 3-0. They get into conference play. They lose a couple tight games, had some calls that were maybe, I'll go ahead and say it, awful. But it is what it is, right? They still had chances to win the games and they didn't do it. And it seemed like when those circumstances happened, Hugh Freeze kind of went in the tank. Now, I don't know that for a fact. It's just body language. And a lot of times body language speaks louder than your freaking words do. And listen, I don't hate Hugh Freeze. I really don't. But I think that was part of, what made the team not as good as it could have been when a real adversity hit, like when those calls happened. The team was kind of done, right? Especially Georgia. Oklahoma, they had a little more fight in them, but it was a couple calls throughout the game, and then they just couldn't come back from them. And I understand you could say the referee, the calls made it where they couldn't. I get it. I do. I promise you I do. I'm telling you. But I think that's part of another small reason on why it may not have worked. The adversity hit. The team wasn't super resilient. They had some resiliency, but they weren't as resilient as they could, as maybe they needed to be. And then talk about the quarterbacks. Hugh Freeze is an offensive guy. Kind of, I think his thing is he's got the quarterbacks. They're going to score a lot of points, do a lot of stuff offensively, and they never did it. Peyton Thorne, the guy the first 2 years, bringing Jackson Arnold, still didn't work after game 1. So, what's next for Hugh Freeze? I don't know, because he had the stuff when he was at Ole Miss, right? And he was at Liberty for a little bit. So, where's he gonna go now? He was calling plays, and there's a lot of back and forth with head coaches who call plays. And I don't love getting to the middle of it because you got some head coaches who call plays and pretty good at it, and they're the head coach. You got some coaches who call the plays, offensively or defensively, and it doesn't really work out. And so I've heard Steve Sarkisian is somebody who calls the plays as a head coach offensively. He's been pretty much fine. So I think it depends on who the guy is, right? Can you handle calling the plays as a head coach? And I'm not saying it's good or bad. I'm not, because if you're winning, you're winning. It doesn't matter what you're doing. If you're getting everybody, all the ducks in a row, right people on the bus in the right spot. It doesn't matter if you're calling plays or if you're just the CEO and you're just handling everything over the big picture and everybody underneath is working. It doesn't matter if you're winning. Nobody cares how you do it, as long as it's ethical and legal. But seriously, it doesn't matter. So, you know, I think it depends on the person. Should the head coach call the plays? It depends on who the guy is. Can he handle it? That's the first thing. Um, can can I think it's the only question is can he handle it? Can he call the plays and also get the results you want? And it's kind of a not great if you're calling those plays and you're not wanting to hire a coordinator on that side of the ball and you're not very good on that side of the ball. That's where it kind of set. That's where everybody's kind of thinking, well, maybe just get a coordinator. And then if you don't, being kind of stubborn, okay, I get it at first, and then it's still not working, get a coordinator. Happened to Billy Napier, happened to Hugh Freeze. Now, am I sitting here telling you those guys should have been fired? They're terrible. Absolutely not. But we see what happened. Did they get warned? Hey, you need to hire a coordinator. I don't know. But could it have helped them? Maybe. It could have. Right? It could have. So, sucks for Hugh Freeze. I don't know what his buyout is. Probably something millions, probably. I don't know. These, And then here's the other thing. I'll get into this. The athletic directors, and listen, I'm not trying to start any kind of crap, but these athletic directors, whoever these people are who hire these head coaches, they hire these head coaches. We've had about 10 power jobs come open or whatever it is. I don't know what it is. You have these athletic directors, administration, whoever's hiring these coaches. They bring these guys in and just throw bukus of money, right? And the donor, these donors are. It's just a money game. Who's got the most money, whatever. And so they're throwing this money at these guys. And then if these guys don't do exactly what they want them to do, guess what? They're going to fire them. Hey, where's the accountability for the administration? Where is it? The athletic directors and the president, they're the ones who hired them. Where's your accountability? Okay? Everybody else has got to have it. Where's your accountability? Now, here's one that happened. LSU let their AD go. Here's another thing I have. The AD doesn't only do football. He's called an athletic director for a reason. All athletics. LSU's all of athletics are really freaking good. And the guy let go the AD. Now, that's a crapshoot down there at LSU. Whatever's going on right now is a crapshoot. And you know what? The governor's involved. I don't know who else. I guess the president's involved. I don't know. The governor said no, he's not making a decision. The AD. The president said, okay, see ya. Unbelievable. The other sports that they have at LSU are usually very good. Baseball team's in the World Series almost every year. The basketball team won a natty a year or two ago. The women's basketball. So that's the administrations are just crazy. They just, anything that happens, cut, fired. We'll just buy them out or her out. What? You hired them. Where's your accountability? Where is it? Yeah, I'm a little fired up. Okay, let me tell you why I'm fired up. The tackling thing's got me fired up. Here's another thing that's got me fired up. Squattober just ended on Friday, on Halloween. Okay? Squattober's great. But here's my issue. And the issue's with me. It's not with anybody else. It's not with Squattober. It's with me. I have this SI joint issue. It's the joints right there above your buttocks, where your back and your butt meet, right there. You got two of them. And my SI joints have been bothering me since I was a senior in high school. And they're kind of on. Sometimes they feel good. Sometimes they feel bad. But they literally pop out of place. All right, you do little stretches, pop them back in, and it hurts for a while. It goes away. You do something wrong. It comes back again. Thursday, October 30th, was the max party. I talked about it on one of the episodes. The squat party. On Thursday, you're maxing out. You're going above your max. We're trying to see what Squattober's done for you. And guess what? The day before, The afternoon before, whatever, I'm getting a little, my SI joints aren't feeling great, but that's fine, whatever. The morning of Thursday, October 30th, guess what, brother? The right SI joint was in deep pain. Deep pain. And I'm supposed to squat heavy. And I can't. I do the first couple sets, about 50% for 5. Not feeling good. I'm moving it slow, but I'm getting down and up because it's light. I go up to about, I don't know, say 65 or 70% for 3. Oh, it's close. It's just not great. We jump up to 85. I think it was 85. I don't know what it was. And so we're getting close to 300. And I go down, and I get it back up, but boys, I had to strain. I'm hurting. I'm leaning on one side because the right side's hurting. And I had to hang it up. That was the only thing on the docket for the workout that day was squat. And I was so pissed. I was so mad. So then I just go sit in the sauna to sweat, make me feel like I did something. Freaking unbelievable. So I'm old and I'm garbage. I got to be able to not get hurt when it's squat party day. You understand me? And it still hurts bad, even to this day. I got to go get it looked at. I got that and tennis elbow. So go ahead and just wrap me up like a freaking mummy and throw me in a casket. I mean, just unbelievable. Anyway, so there's a little bit of why I'm fired up. Okay? And it's nobody's fault but mine. It's my fault. And it's got me even more fired up because it's something I can control and I can't do it. I haven't done it. Okay. Here's a lesson from that. Control the controllables. If you can control it, go get it fixed. No procrastination. I'm bad about it. I got to get better. Next thing. New AP polls out. Just a little bit ago. You want to look through it? I know you do. Here's another problem with the same problem that happened again. Washington, while they should have been ranked last week, we talked about them. Griffin Dalton and I all talked about them. Should have been ranked last week. Washington was off. The Washington Huskies were off this weekend. And guess what? They moved up to 24. Did they hold a secret practice on Saturday and they looked really good, so you moved them up, AP? Unreal. What are we doing? I mean, whatever. Iowa is not ranked. Iowa is not ranked. Now, I believe they were off this weekend too. Put them in there. Pittsburgh? I don't know. I can't explain it. Anyway, here we go. The top 7 stayed the exact same in AP poll. I think that's totally fine. You know? I think it's totally fine because you had Vandy lost, Georgia Tech lost, Miami lost. I think they were 8, 9, and 10. Yeah, they were 8, 9, and 10. And they all dropped, obviously. So perfect, makes sense, right? We're gonna get to these. All 3 of those teams lost games. They probably should have won, so they dropped. Ohio State, Indiana, Texas A&M, Alabama, Georgia, Oregon, Ole Miss, BYU up to number 8. Did they play this weekend? Texas Tech, 9, Notre Dame 10, Oklahoma 11 after beating Tennessee. Huge win. Did Tennessee get eliminated from playoff contention? We'll talk about it later. Virginia up to 12. A closer game, but hey, they won by 10. Closer. But not as close as it's been the last couple weeks, so good for Virginia. Texas up to 13. Oh, the AP poll has been licking their chops. They can't wait to get Texas back up in the top 10. Give them one more win, baby. AP poll's going to drive them up into the top 10. Now, they looked like a completely different squad this past weekend, but Vandy looked like a different squad in a terrible way. Do I trust Texas? The trust meter is still not feeling great about Texas. Louisville is up to 14. Vandy dropped to 15. Georgia Tech dropped to 16. Utah up to 17 from 24. Complete domination of Cincinnati. Completely dominated them. Miami down to 18. Is Miami eliminated? Stick around to find out. Missouri stays at 19. Now, here's something interesting. Missouri had a bye week. They stuck at 19. They did not move up or down. But BYU moved up from 10 to 8. Washington moved from not ranked to 24. What do you think? Let me know. USC up to 20. Huge win versus Nebraska. Michigan, 21. Guess what? Bye week. Stayed. Memphis up 3 spots to 22. So it seems like the AP says Memphis is the Group of 5 team to beat. We're going to talk about the Group of 5 and what could happen. Tennessee down 9 spots to 23. Washington, like we talked about, up 24. Cincinnati still in the top 25 at number 25, dropping 8 spots. Like I said, Iowa got votes, didn't get in. James Madison's rolling pretty good. Pittsburgh, San Diego State, North Texas. South Florida, SMU, Houston, Illinois, LSU, Arizona State. LSU? Who are the voters? Put the voters out there so we know who they are. They're getting away with too much garbage. We need to know who they are. Just like we need to know who refs are, we need to know who the voters are. Unbelievable. Well, okay. All right. Now, the coaches poll got Iowa in there after a bye week. That's the coaches poll, a little different. Anyway. AP poll's done. The Jake poll. I'll do a top 25, the Jake poll. We'll talk about it a little bit when I'll be with Griffin Dalton later in the week. G and D later in the week. And, we'll probably talk about it a little. I may not go all the way in depth. We'll talk about it a little bit. Now, we're going to go through a couple games here. There's a lot of games that we got to go through. And there are some things are becoming more solidified. In the conference championship pictures, which coincidentally turns into the playoff pictures. On Tuesday is the first college football playoff ranking that's coming out. That's going to tell us a lot. And a lot of people, or at least I think, we're going to get to find out what the committee is really looking for. I think they're trying to make it where it's everybody knows, where it's kind of more straight line. It's not, is it this, is it that? But we'll see. We'll see kind of which teams are they feeling good about? Which metrics are they wanting to use? Are they wanting not to use? Use more than others? We'll see. Let's get to some games here. We'll start on Thursday night. Tulane. Tulane goes to San Antonio to play UTSA and get just dominated by UTSA. UTSA's got one of the top rushers in the country, if not the top. Robert Henry. Is it the junior? I think it's junior. Maybe the third. But Robert Henry. I actually recruited him a short amount of time when I was at Mississippi College. Now, obviously, he made the right decision. He was in JUCO in Mississippi. He made the correct decision to go to UTSA to go dominate, and he's now the leading rusher in the country, or second or something. So, very happy for him. Would have been great if we'd have gotten him, but obviously he's bigger than we are. We're Division II, and now they don't have a football program anymore. So what are you going to do? Tulane got dominated. I mean, the score ended up being 48-26. It was never close. I mean, I guess it was 10-6 in the first quarter, but at halftime it was 31-12, and Tulane could not do anything offensively. And the rest of the season they've been really good. They played Army a couple weekends ago. had to go down to the wire and ended up winning the game. This time, there was no down to the wire. The wire was here, and they were way back there. UTSA I think they were more physical. And Tulane, like I said, Tulane could not do anything offensively. And UTSA took advantage of it and dominated. And that was Thursday night. Other Thursday night game had Coastal beating the crap out of Marshall. Now, Coastal, and you know what? Nope, we won't do that. We'll get into the conference championship pictures in a bit. All right, we'll get into those in a bit. Now, Friday, you had North Carolina at Syracuse. North Carolina's played before this game, had 2 weeks where they were 1 point away last weekend. And the weekend before, 3 points away. And they should have scored. Going in the end zone, the ball gets punched out, and it's touchback, and then it goes the other way. Last weekend, overtime, they go for 2 in the first overtime and try to just win it outright. He catches the ball on the goal line, stretches out. He's short inside the 1, but doesn't cross the goal line. They lose by a point. This week they play Syracuse. Syracuse is starting a backup quarterback, a different backup quarterback. And it did not go very well. He couldn't ever get in a rhythm. And UNC, you know what? UNC was running the football. The running back had a great game. Let's just see how many. Yeah, June is his last name. That's right. June is his last name. Rushed for 101 yards. And a touchdown. And Gio Lopez had a good game, a quarterback. Huge for UNC, huge for Bill Belichick. If they can keep this going and finish the year out strong, first of all, he'll get the monkeys off his back. Everybody talking about get rid of him. And I hope he does. And then he'll be able to start, kind of get rolling on what he's got. If you can get Gio Lopez to stick around, I guess he's got a year or 2 left. I don't know. I think he's fairly young. I really don't know. I should know. Yeah, don't know. Anyway, then you can kind of get something rolling, right? You can really get something rolling. So, great for UNC. Great for UNC. Next one, Army Air Force. Just like a game you would think about when it comes to military, when it comes to service academies playing each other. 20-17. They're just doing this all game, doing this right here. They get into the last moments. They're tied 17-17. Army takes the lead. Air Force scores, and they kind of back and forth. Army scores. Air Force ties it. And they go in the last minute. Army has got like less than a minute left. They're trying to go down and kick a field goal. I can't remember, second or third down. Army runs the old play action. They run the guy on the post. Oh, man, it was great. The corner's playing off. I think it's a corner playing off. The receiver gets his hips turned outside. He thinks he's going to break out because they got to stop the clock. He puts his foot in the ground, runs a post back over the middle, wide open. Catches it over the shoulder, perfect throw. They get a big gain. They run it to the middle, call their last timeout, kick it, knock it through. They get the first win in the Commander-in-Chief Trophy series, whatever you call it. I don't know. All right, so they've got a win. Air Force has got a loss. You know what? Actually, I think Navy's already beaten Air Force, so now Air Force is 0-2. Army and Navy are both 1-0. So that means the Army-Navy game is now the decider for the Commander-in-Chief Trophy. All right, and that's exciting. That's always a great game. I've said this many times. I got buddies, coaches on both sides. All right, and it'll be a good one. It always is. Here, briefly, Penn State, Ohio State. You know, at halftime, Penn State was close. Penn State had it close. They're giving Ohio State some issues. Ohio State was having some trouble scoring. It was 17-14 at half. Penn State scores right before half to make it 17-14. And we hadn't seen Penn State play like this for a month or more. And then Ohio State shuts them out in the second half and scores 21 more points. Great first half by Penn State, about as good as they could have done it. But then Ohio State's just too good. Just too good. Right? So, anyway, they're just too good, and they end up winning 38-14. Now, let's move to the next one. We're going Houston. Willie Fritz out. Man, I was hoping, Houston is going to get rolling, and they play West Virginia at home. Rich Rodriguez and the boys, they lose. They lose 45-35. And guess what? It was never even, I guess it was tied 21 at half. They go down 14-7 in the first quarter, tied 21-21 at half. And then Houston scored 24 in the second half to Houston's 14. In the second half, it was a track meet for West Virginia. They did about whatever they wanted. Houston could not keep up. And so West Virginia gets the win. So that's huge for Rich Rodriguez. They were 2-6. They go to 3-6. Houston was hoping to have a chance in the Big 12 championship. They lose a game. I think that chance is out. I think playoff chance is out as well. But we'll talk about eliminated versus maybe not eliminated in just a little bit. It's going to be a jam-packed show, folks. It might be 3 hours. Not really, but it may be it'll be long, okay? We got a lot of stuff to talk about. Duke at Clemson. Oh, man, a high-scoring shootout. Kick returns for touchdowns. Long pass plays, long punt, run plays. Anything you could think of. And then Duke goes down 7 late in the fourth quarter. They drive down. They get down, they score a touchdown. And they go for 2 and get it. And then Clemson, they got like less than a minute, like 40, 30 seconds left. And they can't, they try to do the pitch back, and then, Duke recovers it, whatever. There was a moment there in the game. I believe this is when Clemson had given up 28 points. Whatever point in the game, second quarter, maybe close to halftime. Yeah, probably right before halftime. And Dabo Swinney is just lighting into the boys on defense. Because the offense has scored 28 as well. So, it's tied 28-28. But Duke is just down the field on them. And Dabo is lighting into them dudes. And in the background, right, you can see, on the sideline, you're going to have chairs defense, chairs for the offense. He's in the middle of the chairs on the defense. He's lighting into them. I'm seeing cats on the backside of that circle. I've seen those looks before as a coach, whether you're lighting into them or not. I didn't like the looks on. It was really just one dude. I don't know who the guy is. I didn't look him up. But, man, I did not like the looks. It was kind of a disinterested look. It was kind of a, what are you talking about look. It was kind of a, I'm not listening to you look. And I don't know if it was any of that. But it looked like it from the outside looking in. And listen, I've been on the field as a player and a coach. I understand when people like me come on here and say stuff, it sometimes doesn't mean jack crap. Okay? I'm not saying I know exactly what was going on. But, man, I'll tell you what it looked like. I hope I'm wrong. And if I'm not, that is probably where the problems lie with a lot of those cats. If they're feeling that way on the team. I hope I'm wrong. I really do. I hope I'm wrong. Because I love Dabo Swinney. I hope I'm wrong. I'll just say that. Duke wins 46-45. Duke's still in the ACC picture. They're still in the picture, man. And we're going to talk about it. Their only conference loss is to Georgia Tech. And we'll get to that game in a second. Here we go. Next game, Navy, North Texas. Navy was overmatched the whole time. They were overmatched. Couldn't stop North Texas enough. Couldn't get enough offense going. North Texas defense got after them pretty good. At half, it was 24-10. And then Navy couldn't get much more. They scored 7 points in the third, nothing in the fourth. North Texas did too, but bad part is Navy was down. They were down 14 going into half. They were the only undefeated team left in that conference as far as overall. Tulane also is undefeated. They lose on Thursday. And we're going to get into this, and it's kind of opening the door for the old backdoor Kennesaw State Owls if they win out. I'm not even going to say it. I don't want to even put it in anybody's minds. I'm not even going to do it. But it's in the back of my mind. And I'm not playing or coaching, so it doesn't matter if it's in the back of my mind or not. Okay? We'll talk about it later. Miami, SMU. Miami goes to Dallas, okay? Connor Morgan and the SMU Mustangs get it done versus the number 10 in AP, Miami. Now, SMU, I think, and the score didn't show it the whole time, but I think SMU was kind of in control the whole time. Miami couldn't do a whole lot. Miami goes up 7-0. It's 10-7 Miami at half. All right. And then it turns into 17-17 at the end of the third. A field goal each in the fourth quarter. And they go to overtime. Going to overtime, Miami gets the ball first, and Carson Beck throws a pick. Trying to throw it to Malachi Tony. He's running his, option route, whatever it was. He's trying to get open, and he goes towards the end zone. I guess Carson Beck thinks he's going flat. He throws it like he's going flat, throws it right to the defender, and Malachi Tony's running back towards the back of the end zone. The interception troubles that have been on Carson Beck. I know he threw 4 in a game versus Louisville, had a bye week. I don't know if he threw any before that one, honestly. Oh, he did. He threw 2 interceptions. But he threw 2 touchdowns, too. The interception bug's on Carson Beck right now. Are they eliminated? We'll talk about it. Stick around. Vandy at Texas. Man, let me tell you something. Yes, when I was talking about tackling, guess what one of the team was I was talking about? The Vanderbilt Commodores. It was 24-10 at half. It got to be 34-10 in the third quarter. 34-10. And then Vanderbilt comes screaming back. Scores 21. And so it's 34-31. Vandy kicking an onside kick. They kick an onside kick. And they get what they want. It's a low ground ball, right? It never pops up. And so the guy for Texas boots it, right? Like a shortstop, boots it. Vanderbilt's going, about 4 Vanderbilt dudes touch it, and they can't get control of it before it goes out of bounds. They had a chance to go tie the game. Maybe win it. They didn't have enough. I mean, they could have scored, I guess, but at least enough time to go kick a field goal or get in field goal range to kick a field goal. Vanderbilt just did not look good to start. They couldn't tackle. I mean, offensively, Texas had about anything they wanted. Arch Manning looked like a completely different. He looked like Peyton and Eli in this game. And I'm happy for him, at least before the fourth quarter. The fourth quarter is when they really started to, it's like they took the foot off the gas. Now, ended up being okay. But scary at the end for Texas on the day after Halloween. Even scarier for Vanderbilt because they lost. They now have 2 losses in the SEC. Are they eliminated? I don't know. They really needed to win out to give themselves a chance. We'll see. Because there's still, 4 weeks left? Yeah, 4 weeks left. Teams either have 3 or 4 games left. So there's still a chance. But how big is that chance? We'll talk about that too. Ended up being it was very, very sloppy for Vandy. They stormed back in the fourth quarter. I mean, valiant effort. You're just not tackling. I mean, literally Texas had everything they wanted. Screen for 20. Hand it to Wisner, 15. I mean, they were doing whatever they wanted to Vanderbilt's defense. And that's why it got out of hand so fast. So, great on Texas. If Texas can keep that going, Oh man, you better watch the freak out if you're anybody playing them, dude, because they can run it up on you quick. Now they got to learn how to finish games, or they got to finish games. They may know how, they just didn't. They just got to finish games, and they'll be pretty elite. Can they keep it going? They don't have a very easy schedule left, so we'll talk about that too. Arizona State, Iowa State. Well, now here's the thing, man. So for Arizona State, Sam Levitt is out for the year. He's having surgery on, I believe, his knee, somewhere on his leg. He's out for the year. So they start Jeff Sims. The last time he started for them, they played crap. I don't remember who it was. Actually, I'm about to find out because it's going to bother me. They played Utah. And so Jeff Sims, just compare these. Right? 18 for 38, 124 yards passing, no touchdowns, no picks. 21 rushes for 52 yards, no touchdowns. Okay? They lose 42-10. They play Iowa State at Iowa State. Now, that was at Utah. This is at Iowa State. Jeff Sims, passing 13 for 24, 177 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 pick. You ready for this one? 29 rushes for 228 yards. 228 yards rushing from the QB, Jeff Sims. 2 touchdowns. I'd say that's a little bit different. That's different from the game against Utah. That was a difference right there. That was it. And Arizona State's defense held them to 19, held Iowa State to 19. At halftime, it was 17-16. So it was close the whole way through. Nobody scored in the fourth quarter. So you got to give it to the defense of Arizona State. All right, you got to give it to the defense of them. And so Arizona State wins. So huge for Arizona State. Does that keep them in the mix? Yeah, probably. We'll talk about that in the Big 12. Louisville versus Virginia Tech. Louisville gets the win. They were down 16-7 for a long time. They were down for a long time in the game. 16, probably the whole first half they were down. They get to third quarter and they shut out Virginia in the second half and score 21 more points and win 28-16. Louisville is right smack dab in the middle of the ACC championship picture, playoff picture. They're in all of it. They control their own destiny. If they win out, they control it. They control their freaking destiny, man. UNLV, Dan Mullen and the Cardiac Kids, we've already talked about them before. They lost, man. They played New Mexico. They lost. I believe UNLV is now on a skid. Yep, Boise State, they lose. New Mexico, they lose. Did they lose the mojo? Did they lose the mojo? Say it ain't so, man. They play Colorado State next week. Good chance to get a win. They got a chance to win all their last games. But they just got to quit going down so big in the beginning, in the earliest parts of the game. If they can do that, they'll be fine. Okay. Texas Tech, Kansas State. Kansas State was up on them early. Okay, they were up on them early. But then Texas Tech came roaring back and beat them 43-20. Ended up beating them by 23 at Kansas State. Huge for them. Huge for Texas Tech. They're also still smack dab in the Big 12 picture. They had old Baron Morton back. He was starting. Passed for 249, 2 touchdowns and a pick. And their run game was Williams rushed for 135. I mean, give yourself a chance to win when you do that. Georgia, Florida. Now, Georgia, Kirby Smart and that crew has done something right with the football gods because that ball bounces their way almost every freaking week. If you don't put them out of the game, they're gonna win the game. There's no. I mean, ever since the Alabama game, you had chances to win that game and didn't. Ever since that game, if you keep them in the game even a little, because they've trailed in probably almost every game they've played since then. Not everyone, almost every. And they come back and win. Now, here is another call that goes for Georgia. In the Auburn game, we know what it was. The fumble at the goal line. I've gotten a lot of flack for it. I don't care. From my opinion, what I saw, the ball crossed. Under control. Guess what? I know what that means. I know what the rule is. You got to have control of the ball. That's what I saw. This game, Florida's trying to go down and score. And this is 3rd and 10, and DJ Lagway's running around, and there's apparently a guy who's 80 yards down the field. And I see, now I can't see the guy on the game picture. There's a guy almost, he's on like the 20. They're on like the 30. He's on the 20 over on the other side of the field. And I see DJ Lagway, he's scrambling, and he just runs, and he's on the run forward and throws it. I'm thinking, holy crap, where's he throwing it? And there's a guy down there, but apparently he underthrew it, so he had to stop, and he was falling, and they called it incomplete. That's where Florida got screwed. They called it incomplete first. They go back and review it and uphold it. They upheld. I think his arms were under it. I think the ball hit the forearms and not the ground. And yeah, people go, oh, well, that's your problem. You think. Well, let me tell you something. Yeah, that's what I saw. I saw the ball hit the forearms and bounce into him, and then once he got it in the chest, it didn't move. If I played for Georgia, and it might be illegal, I don't know. If I played for Georgia, I'd go play the lottery, and I'd probably win that mother freaker because they can do about anything they want, and they'll still come back and win. And that's why I said what I said a few weeks ago. Give me Georgia to somehow get an SEC championship game and win the thing. They got to have some help. I understand that. Don't let them get in it because they'll win it. Don't let them get in the playoff because they might just win that one too. I don't know. And Florida played their freaking hearts out. Just left them lingering around a little too long. Man, left them lingering around. Sure did. So, anyway, big win for Georgia, almost a big win for Florida in their first game after Billy Napier. From one Billy to the next, Billy Napier to Billy Gonzalez, and almost get the win over Georgia in Jacksonville. Biggest cocktail party in the South, I believe they call it. And Georgia's the reigning champ as of right now, again. Okay. Fresno State, Boise State. Boise State gets drilled by Fresno State. Very, very unexpected. Fresno State's quarterback is Kurt Warner's son, in case you didn't know. It was Kurt Warner's son. And maybe he's hurt. I don't know exactly. But the year started, it was Kurt Warner's son. Anyway, whoever it is, they beat Boise State 30-7. 30-7, man. Maybe Boise State's quarterback Madsen got hurt. His stats are this: 1 for 4, -4 yards. Man, oh man. Well, is Boise State eliminated? We won't wait for it. Yes, they're eliminated. Okay. Got 3 losses. Yes, one was a Notre Dame, one was South Florida, and one's a Fresno State. They're now out of it. In my opinion, we'll talk about it. Mississippi State or Arkansas. Jeff Levy, Mississippi State. First SEC win in, like 15 SEC games. I don't know. It's been like 3 seasons since they've won an SEC game. And they had to fight for it. They had to fight for the win. They were down. They had to fight back. They were down 14 in the fourth quarter. Scored a touchdown. Hold. Get the ball back. Kick a field goal. 35-31. Hold. Get the ball back. Score with less than a minute left. A great play. Throws an out route. Breaks a couple tackles. Breaks a tackle to get into the end zone. Mississippi State wins. Great for them, man. They started the season off on fire and then lost 4 in a row. Most of them close. The only one that wasn't close was versus Texas A&M. I mean, the non-conference play, domination. Beat Arizona State, who's right in the middle of the Big 12 picture as far as conference champs and playoffs. Lose to Tennessee by 7. Lose to Texas A&M 31-9. Lose to Florida 23-21 in the Swamp. Lose to Texas by a touchdown in overtime. They should have beaten Texas. They were up by 17. And then they get Arkansas, finally win. They've got Georgia next weekend in Starkville. Can they get something going there? I'd love to say they can. We've already talked about Georgia. Don't leave them in it. If you do, that's an L. South Carolina, Ole Miss. It was close early. I mean, it's pretty close the whole game. Ole Miss pulls away late. South Carolina is a tough football team. They just don't have enough. It seems they don't have enough. Played Alabama super tough. Probably should have beaten them. Didn't. Had chances to beat Ole Miss. Didn't make the plays they needed to, and Ole Miss did. And that's why, you know what? That's why Ole Miss is ranked in the top 10. That's why Ole Miss is ranked in the top 10, folks. All right, Lenore Sellers, passes for 180, throws 2 interceptions, 1 touchdown. Now, let me tell you. Wait a minute. Oh, okay. Yeah, so they hold South Carolina to under 100 yards rushing. To be exact, if you don't count Lenore Sellers getting sacked, 67 yards. It's hard to win games when you're rushing for 67 and throwing for 180. Okay? But Ole Miss is a good football team. Defense is good. And they're going to score points. So, great for Ole Miss, great for Lane. And they're rolling. They control their own destiny. Oklahoma, Tennessee. I picked Tennessee. I thought they were going to score too many points. But here's the thing. Tennessee turned the ball over twice in the first half. If they don't do that, they may be so far ahead it doesn't matter what Oklahoma does the rest of the game. But they turned the ball over twice. Joey Aguilar was throwing just some crazy balls. I mean, Aguilar threw 2 interceptions. He threw for 393 yards, but 2 picks. Those 2 picks ended up being huge. They lose by 6. Oklahoma does just enough to win the game. John Mateer is still not back to what he was before the injury. But Oklahoma's defense is pretty freaking good. And as you can see, they forced a couple turnovers. Well, I guess they forced them. Aguilar gave 1 or 2 of them. They forced a couple others. Big win for Oklahoma. That was an elimination game. The loser of that one's out of the SEC picture. I think there's no doubt about it. And out of the playoff picture. Because probably either one of those weren't going to get to the SEC championship game. But both of them had a chance to be in the playoff picture if they win out. And so now I think Tennessee's out. But we'll get to it. Don't worry. And we're going to move on to the Pac-2 championship game. Washington State at Oregon State. Guess what? Oregon State gets their first Division I FBS win versus Washington State in the Pac-2 championship game. Okay? Huge for Oregon State. Not great for Washington State after they play these Oklahoma, Virginia so close. And they play Oregon State, and they get beat. In Corvallis. Huge for Oregon State. But they play again. In Pullman, Washington. They're going to play again. And so we'll see if Washington State can get revenge, or is Oregon State going to pull off the clean sweep of the Cougars of Washington State? I can't wait to see it on Rivalry Weekend. Few more. USC at Nebraska. USC gets a big win versus Nebraska, keeps themselves in the Big Ten picture, keeps himself in the possible playoff picture by going to Nebraska in a blackout, and they get the win. Huge for Lincoln Riley. Man, that's awesome for them. Mayava had not his best game, 9 for 23, 135 yards, no touchdowns and a pick. But running back Miller runs for 129. Raiola, we know Raiola. That's old Patty Mahomes Jr., 10 for 15 for 91 yards and 1 touchdown. So there wasn't a whole lot of pass game. They had the running back Johnson rush for 165. So this is more of a running game. So think about this. Michigan and Nebraska. USC plays both of those teams and beats them by playing Big Ten football. Who'd have thought? Who'd have thought? And they get 2 huge wins, and now they are still in the Big Ten picture with chances to with a chance to get in the playoff. That's huge. Huge, man. Huge. Quick one. Wake Forest and Florida State. I'm thinking it's going to be a touchdown, 10-point game, and Florida State wins 42-7. Now they're in Tallahassee. Wake Forest goes down there, and Wake Forest gets hammered. Robbie Ashford, the quarterback there, played another guy too. Tommy Castellanos throws for 271. Florida State as a group rushed for over 100, and they just dominated. They dominated the whole game. I mean, Wake Forest didn't score to the end of the fourth quarter. It was 42-0. So huge for Florida State to get back on track. They're 4-4 now. They needed that one big time. Georgia Tech and NC State. Another team I'm talking about did not tackle worth a flip. Now, that running back that NC State had, what's his name? Hold on a second. Scott, last name Scott, rushed for 196. Now, that joker was running hard as crap. But also, Georgia Tech could not tackle him. Is that good on Scott? Probably. Is it bad on Georgia Tech defensive tackling? Probably. Probably both. I just kept thinking, they're about to stop him. They're about to stop it, and never did. Never did. The final score was 48-36. A shootout. Georgia Tech couldn't stop NC State, especially in the second half of the game. Couldn't do it. And that's why that's why NC State got the win. C.J. Bailey, the quarterback at NC State, was unstoppable. Couldn't stop him. He was hurt during the game, and he's doing everything he wants to do. I mean, huge for NC State. There were talks about Dave Doeren getting fired and stuff like that. They just beat number 8 team in the country. I don't know if those talks are going to be happening anymore. So we'll see, man. We'll see. Huge for NC State. Georgia Tech, they're still in the picture for the ACC championship, but they pretty much got to win out now, ACC-wise. And for the playoff, they need to beat Georgia. But you know how I feel about Georgia. We'll just move on. Next one, Kentucky-Auburn, led to the demise of Hugh Freeze's job. It was ugly. My parents were at the game, and it was bad. I'm getting texts from my buddy Caleb the whole time. He was sad. He woke up this morning and watched Iron Bowl highlights from 2019 when they, Auburn won out, obviously. This is before Hugh Freeze got fired. At least it was announced. And it was bad. It was hard to watch. They started Ashton Daniels instead of Jackson Arnold. And they scored 3 points. Would it have been better with Jackson Arnold the whole game? Don't know. Doesn't matter. 3 points. That's all they scored. And so, and Jackson Arnold went in a couple drives in the second half. Got sacked. Now, these dudes are running for their lives. Offensive line is, it's like, sieve protection. Just letting them run through. I mean, I'm taking a snap. Where am I escaping? Because them dudes are here. So, yeah, I don't know. It's not all on the quarterback. It's not all on Hugh Freeze. It's, whatever. I mean, is it all on Hugh Freeze? Sure, he's the head coach. Yeah, whatever. Offensive line is not playing good. Quarterbacks don't have a whole lot of time, but they're not playing good when they do. So that's the thing, man. Hugh Freeze bringing better quarterbacks maybe helps. I don't know. Anyway, so tough to watch. I'll just say that. In the last game, the nightcap. Well, almost. You had Hawaii and San Jose State that started at midnight, probably, or 10:30 actually, over in Cali. Cincinnati at Utah. Domination. Utah won 45-14. Sorsby, great player, quarterback, Cincinnati, 11 for 33 for 221 yards, a touchdown, and interception. 11 completions for 221 yards. Wow. Cincinnati certainly rushed for over 100 yards overall. Utah, Dampier, 16 for 31, 213 yards, 2 touchdowns, and a pick. I mean, it was domination. The game was never close. 14-7 first quarter, 24-7 and a half, 38-14 in the third, and then they score again, 45-14. They're both still in the top 25. Cincinnati, they got one loss in the Big 12, so they're still in the Big 12 picture as far as championship game. They got to win out now. But we'll talk about how many teams I think will get in from each league and all that. But huge for Utah. Utah's lost 2 games in the Big 12. They got to win out to give themselves a chance. And they did that in a big way this weekend. Game day was there. So it was a big atmosphere, and they go win the game. Huge for them. Couple other games. Division 2. There were some FCS games that were good. Division 2. West Alabama loses to Valdosta State. Valdosta State is not the Valdosta State of old. West Al should have won that one. They're kind of probably out of it for an at-large bid. Maybe because it's the Gulf South they will. I don't know, man. Mars Hill beats Tusculum 28-7. Tusculum has not been great at scoring points, not great at holding teams from scoring points. So it's just not a great combo. I want them to get going, get some wins. Just hadn't looked great for them since the first week. Newberry, on the other hand, offensive coordinator Cole Watson gets it done. They beat Anderson 24-21. They're still at the top of the freaking SAC in Division 2, looking to win the SAC, go to playoffs, and make a run. The boys are rolling. Division 3, the boys at Berry win 31-13 over Center College in Danville, Kentucky. They're still on top of the SAA. They're trying to go win the conference, and they are trying to get into playoffs and make a run. And then the last but not least, you got Southwestern goes to Millsaps. My boy Ridge Murphy, the bald himself. They beat Southwestern 27-24. Big time win for the Mill Sapiens. Okay, now we're gonna get into this. Conference pictures, conference championship pictures, all that stuff. Okay, so we're going to start with ACC. All right, so you've got one undefeated team in ACC play. That's Virginia. All right. You got one team there, UVA. They're still undefeated. Now, they did lose to NC State, but guess what? Didn't count as a conference game. How the heck? I don't know. But it's true. It didn't count. So, anyway, now you've got 5 teams with 1 loss. You got Miami with 2 losses. They're out of the ACC picture as far as getting in the championship game. Georgia Tech, Pittsburgh. Georgia Tech, Pitt, Louisville, SMU, and Duke. Duke's hanging in there. You got those 5 teams with 1 loss. I think Miami is eliminated from ACC championship picture. I think they're eliminated from playoff picture. Especially after Georgia Tech loses yesterday. They're not going to put more than 2 teams in from the ACC. I mean, honestly, they got to have a couple teams run the table from here on out, or they may not get 2. They may only put 1 in. Oh, man, it's crazy to say, but it's very true. All right, now, Big Ten. This was pretty cut and dry to me. Pretty cut and dry. So you obviously got Ohio State. You got Indiana. Those 2 teams, as far as what they have, Duke's a little excited. Anyway. Sorry, he's excited. Whatever. Anyway, Indiana. They got Penn State, Wisconsin, bye week, Purdue. I mean, it should be easy road to 12-0 for them. Easy road to 12-0 for Indiana. Ohio State, they've got Purdue, UCLA, Rutgers, at Michigan. Easy until Michigan. Because they're at Michigan, and they have not beat Michigan in like 4 years. So, should be easy until Michigan. I'll say that. So, you got those 2 teams. I think those are 2 teams in the conference championship game. You got 4 one-loss teams. Michigan. How is Michigan still in the conversation, man? I don't know. Iowa. Oregon and USC. So playoff pictures where this comes in, right? Because everybody's saying Big Ten, SEC are getting 4 teams in. They're getting 4. They wanted 4 guaranteed spots. I think some of that's kind of garbage, but I understand it. So Oregon is 4-1 and 7-1 overall. And then the other 3 teams, USC, Iowa, Michigan, have all lost 2 games overall, but lost 1 in the conference. So, as far as Michigan's got to play Ohio State. They got to win that game and give them a chance to get in the playoffs. If they don't win that game, because that Northwestern and Maryland. Now, Maryland's going to be tough for them. They got a bye week, Northwestern, Maryland. And then Ohio State. Northwestern should be a win. Maryland. Which Maryland's going to show up? Are they going to play the whole game? Are they going to finish it? We'll see. And Ohio State. We know that they got to win that one. Iowa. Playing great defense. They play Oregon this weekend. Then they go to USC. Then play Michigan State. Then go to Nebraska. They've got a tough one. I don't see them going undefeated in that. But they got a shot. And you got USC. USC. Northwestern. Iowa. At Oregon. UCLA. The Iowa game is going to be a good one. The Oregon game is going to be a good one. I think it's going to be fun to watch who are the next 2 teams that they're going to try to put in the playoff. Are there going to be enough to put 4, or do you just make it 3 and add 1 from the ACC or Big 12? Man, I don't know. Man. It's going to be fun to watch. All right, we go Big 12 now. Big 12 is kind of opened up. You got BYU undefeated, obviously. BYU undefeated. And you got Texas Tech, Cincinnati. They got 1 loss each. So those are the only 2. All right. So Texas Tech and BYU play this weekend in Lubbock. And I've heard rumblings. Game day is going to be there. So That's going to tell us a whole lot about what the Big 12 is going to look like here. Winner of that's probably got a pretty good shot to be there in the end in the Big 12. Okay. Because BYU's got Texas Tech, then TCU. Oh, at Cincinnati, that's another big one. BYU's got a tough schedule coming up. And Texas Tech has BYU, nobody else really. Cincinnati just lost to Utah's got Arizona, BYU, TCU. Arizona's a tough game, but they got a bye week in between. So Big 12, because Houston and Utah have got 2 losses each, I think they're out of the Big 12 picture. Now, as far as playoff picture, they're probably out too. Houston probably eliminated. Utah, honestly, probably eliminated. Now they've won 2 in a row, but they're probably out of the playoff picture because they're not going to want to just throw 3 Big 12 teams in. The only way you get that is if the Big 10 only has 3 teams they feel is worthy to get in. That's the only way. So they need to be rooting for those bubble playoff teams to get beat. So there's only 3 in the Big 10, and they can get an extra one in the Big 12. Because I don't know if you'll get it from the ACC now. I think it will come from the Big 12. SEC. Now this one's a little more jam-packed. At the top, you got Texas A&M. You got Bama, undefeated, right? 1 loss. You got Ole Miss. You got Georgia. And you got Texas. Texas and Georgia play each other. Not this weekend, but the next one. And I think Georgia's going to win the game. It's in Athens. I think Georgia's going to win the game. I think that'll knock Texas out of SEC championship possibilities. And they also play Texas A&M the last week of the year. Not looking good for Texas, in my opinion. You go to Georgia. They obviously play Texas in 2 weeks. They play Mississippi State this weekend. And then Charlotte, Georgia Tech. So their SEC games are finished on November 15th. Now, for Georgia, they could win out and still not make the SEC championship game, which is not the end of the world. If they don't make the SEC championship game, and then they go and beat Georgia Tech, they got a chance to make the playoff. If they don't, they're out probably. So they've got to play the rest of the year, even though it's not SEC. They got to go win the game. They got to go win the game at the end of the year. All right. Now, and then you got Ole Miss, who has lost to Georgia. Georgia has beaten Ole Miss. Ole Miss has Citadel. They play Florida. In the bye week, the Mississippi State. Mississippi State's no joke. Florida's no joke. They've got to win out to get a chance to get to playoffs. So these teams are playing for playoff positions. Now you've got Oklahoma, Vanderbilt with 2 losses in the SEC. Man, I tell you what, buddy, I don't know if they're going to have a chance to get to playoff. They got to have some help. They can have some help with some other teams losing. And they're going to get at least Georgia or Texas losing a game. Ole Miss has got a couple tough ones. But Georgia and Texas, one of those two is going to lose at least one more. Because they play each other. And Texas plays Texas A&M. So Georgia plays Georgia Tech. And that doesn't help you SEC-wise, but it helps you playoff-wise. Anyway, so interesting in the SEC. Still got a few weeks to play out. So now we'll move on to some Group of 5. And let's go to the American, because that's the one everybody wants to talk about. So Navy lost. So there's no undefeated teams in the American in the conference. Navy, Memphis, North Texas, South Florida, Tulane, and East Carolina, all 1 loss in the American. All beating each other. Now, Navy still has to play South Florida and Memphis. Navy goes to Notre Dame this weekend, and then they play South Florida. They have a bye week to play Memphis at Memphis. That's not easy. That's maybe the toughest schedule in the country in the last 3 weeks, or at least in the Group of 5. Memphis was off. Now they play Tulane, huge game at home. They go to East Carolina, and they play Navy. So getting all top teams in the conference. So that's another big one. North Texas, off this weekend, play UAB at Rice Temple. They probably got the best chance to get it as far as top of the AAC, the American Conference. Because North Texas already played South Florida. They played Navy. They lost South Florida and beat Navy. They got one loss. So they're probably the favorite. South Florida plays UTSA. Not an easy game. They go to Navy, not easy. To UAB, and then they play Rice. All right. So not the easiest, but not as tough as Memphis. Not as easy as North Texas. You got East Carolina, who's 5-3 overall. They play Charlotte, play Memphis, at UTSA, at Florida Atlantic. So American, we're going to find out a lot about the American in the next few weeks. You got a lot of top teams playing each other. It's going to be a lot of carnage. Who's going to end up at the top? From what I see on these schedules, I think North Texas has got it. Now let's move on. All right. So we're going to move to the Conference USA. Now, this is where I'm talking about. You might get the backdoor Conference USA Group of 5 playoff spot. Now, you've got to win out in your conference and then win the championship game, whatever. You got 2 teams undefeated: Kennesaw State, Jacksonville State. You've got 3 teams with 1 loss in the conference: Western Kentucky, Missouri State, Liberty. Liberty's 4-4, but they're rolling right now. Now, Kennesaw State, Jacksonville State play not this weekend, but the next one. They play the 15th in Jacksonville, Alabama. That'll be a huge one if they both win this weekend. I don't even know if they play this weekend. Yeah, Kennesaw State plays New Mexico State. They go out to New Mexico to play. And Jacksonville State goes to UTEP. So both of them need to win this game. Both of them need to win out. Jacksonville State still has Western Kentucky to play on the last weekend of the year. And Kennesaw State plays Missouri State, then Liberty after Jacksonville State. Liberty's not going to be an easy game. Missouri State's not going to be an easy game. So tough schedules for the end of the year. Now, Western Kentucky's sitting there with 1 loss. They're sitting right there waiting for somebody to lose and go in that spot. Western Kentucky's off. They play Middle Tennessee State. They go to LSU, and then they play Jacksonville State for the last game of the year. I'm going with the Owls. I want the Owls to win out and freaking get the Conference USA trophy, baby. All right, but it's gonna be tight up top. Okay, the MAC, Miami of Ohio is undefeated in the MAC. Buffalo, Western Michigan, Ohio, all 1 loss in the MAC. Everybody else is 2 losses or more. Unfortunately, I don't think there's any chance of a team. I'm pretty dang sure there's no chance of a team getting into playoff from this conference, unfortunately. Okay. But Miami of Ohio's got the best chance right now. They're 4-0. Miami of Ohio, and boys and girls, we're getting into MACtion Tuesday and Wednesday nights. MAC football. It's starting in 2 days, in 2 nights. If you're gonna hear tomorrow. Starts tomorrow. Tune in to some MACtion. You never know what's gonna happen on a snowy Tuesday night in Ohio or Michigan. You just never know. You never know, man. Or even Buffalo and New York. You never know. You may get the best game you see all year from MACtion on Tuesday, Wednesday night. Don't overlook it and say, oh, that's MAC. Grow up. Grow up and watch football every night of the week. Come on. All right. Miami of Ohio, Buffalo plays Miami of Ohio. Ohio University is also in that mix. They play Buffalo and Miami of Ohio. So we're gonna find out here pretty soon. Western Michigan's there also with 1 loss. They play Ohio. If they can beat Ohio, they got Northern Illinois and Eastern Michigan both on the road, but they got a good chance to, be the top of there. for the MAC championship game. All right. Okay, just a couple left here. Mountain West. Now, Boise State has made it tough on themselves. San Diego State is 4-0 in the Mountain West. Boise State's 4-1. Everybody else has got 2 losses or more. So, and it really looks like it's going to be those 2. Now, Boise State, their remaining schedule, they go to San Diego State next weekend. They're off this weekend. They go to San Diego State. Man. Okay, there we go. All right. We gotta fix this. Okay. Juke's on one today. He's just going nuts. Anyway, play San Diego State. If they can win that one, that'll solidify their spot in the conference championship game. If they lose it, they're leaving it up to chance. So it's a huge game coming up next weekend in the Mountain West. All right, San Diego State. Obviously got Boise State. Got to go to Hawaii this weekend. All right, San Jose State's been pretty good. So, I mean, it got some tough games coming up to get them into the conference championship game. Now, we've also got the Pac-2. We understand that. Oregon State's got the one up. If they can win again, they get the clean sweep. If not, they'll be tied. And nobody really wants that. And the Sun Belt, the only conference with division still, baby.